Hi, it's Paul. This is an acidic fluid on a 63-year-old female. She had a distant history of breast cancer. And so diff quicks first, this is the pattern that we can see. It's pretty dispersed actually on this. There's quite a bit of blood. And then we've got mainly single cells and a few groups definitely around the place. They seem to be fairly large cells, some of those. And here's a group. So there is the odd group of cells. So nucleoli look to be fairly prominent, and looks to be some cytoplasmic vacuolation in these. I'm just looking for mesothelial cytoplasmic characteristics. It's sort of a suggestion of windows in some places, but I don't think so. There's a very large nucleus here, and that's vacuolation. So eccentrically placed nuclei as well. High power, you can see the prominent nucleoli and quite vacuolated cytoplasm. I don't think there's windows in that group. These are the PAPs, groups of cells as well as single cells. Some quite large groups look very disorganized. Again, we can see prominent nucleoli, mainly round nuclei, bit of sort of moderate anisokaryosis, I guess. And here's a big vacuole, actually a couple of them in the cells in this group. So probably a few more there. There's a very big vacuole in that cell in the group above, that one. This is the cell block, the H&E, and showing groups and single cells pretty much matching what we were seeing. It's quite cellular. Just on high power, you can see the malignant features of the cells. Nuclear detail is not quite as good on the formalin fixation, but you can see that there is variation in size and they appear quite hyperchromatic, and there's a bit of cytoplasmic vacuolation. So really confirming the morphology that we saw. This is calretinin, and so it's staining just a few cells in the background. This is like an internal control, I guess. So we definitely have some cells here. And look at that, it's a beautiful fried egg pattern that we see. This is CK5, so in this case it's just cytoplasmic staining. And you can see, again, just scattered positive cells around the place. And they're staining just in the cytoplasm, so nuclei are negative. This is the EMA, and it looks like strong cytoplasmic staining in most of the cells. On higher power, you can see it is cytoplasmic and it's distributed throughout the cytoplasm. That's just red cells in the background, that non-staining material. And then obviously there are some mesothelial cells. And a little group. This is the CEA, and it's again showing cytoplasmic staining, quite strong staining. Nuclei negative. Quite intense. Finally, this is the GATA3, so this is a nuclear stain, and you can see all of those cells are showing positive nuclei, quite intense staining. So what do we have? We had mainly single cells, odd groups, possibly some windows there. There were eccentric nuclei, hyperchromatic, variably sized nuclei, prominent nucleoli. There was definitely some large cytoplasmic vacuoles present. We had negative calretinin and CK5 apart from some background staining of cells. And we had strong EMA positivity in the cytoplasm. Very before I didn't show you, it was positive also, CEA was positive, and then GATA3 was strongly positive, and so that's good confirmatory evidence that this is probably a breast primary. So breast secondaries to the peritoneum are less common than to the pleura. Also, this one presented mainly as single cell, so having the immunohistochemistry was quite useful to confirm that it was adeno, and then having GATA3 to be able to determine a breast primary is really quite useful.